I request that we propose to the crown what we have discussed, unless someone is opposed. If not, Francisco must leave as soon as possible. Timing is of the essence. There are other adventurers who are ready to capitalize on our findings. Almagro and Luque, I will go. I promise to be fair in the event of a capitulation. After some more bickering, they decide that Pedro de Candia would accompany Pizarro. In early December of 1528, Pizarro left for Seville, taking the golden artifacts, woolen textiles, and llamas. Felipillo, Martin, Juancillo, and 3 other translators were also going, all in hope that the king would support the third expedition. Don Francisco, the crown didn't help you for the first 2 explorations, and the governors wouldn't let you continue with a third expedition. Here you are in Spain begging for their approval. You could have gone to Peru on your own, as you did when no one knew what was beyond the southern seas. Contra Sol, perhaps we could have continued with our own resources, but once the prospects were real we wanted to conquer for the crown. Otherwise, our accomplishments would have meant nothing. You knew what happened to Christopher Columbus, even to Hernán Cortés, who was jailed, because of his dealings with the crown. Very close to you, Blasco Núñez de Balboa, who lost his life at the hands of Pedrarias and his father-in-law. People in high places were only interested in the wealth that you could bring to them without recognizing your sacrifices, and many of you ended up with a noose around your necks. Hombre. That is the way we were. I hope that you, as a mestizo, have inherited some of our attributes. What attributes? That the only reasons to live and fight are for honor, king, and God. Don Francisco, the only justifications to fight are for freedom and justice for all. You are not talking like an Indian of the past. Freedom and justice were foreign concepts to them. Are they still the same? Humanity is rapidly changing for the betterment of most races, but not for the Indians of all the Americas. Presently, they are living in the same conditions as you left them. Perhaps with the liberty to live in misery and to die without any justice. That is why it behooves us to change their destiny. For that is the mission of this trip, and I want you to help us in this endeavor. Hombre del futuro. How am I going to help, when I was the one who ended their civilization? Yes. You did. But now the Indians and the mestizos are annihilating themselves with the aid of foreigners who keep on coming in masses to the New World. Well, why bring me into your struggles, if it is of your own doing? Because, I want to know if 500 years in that wooden casket has changed your soul. After all, your remains are at the very side of God in our cathedral, but I don't know if you are in heaven. Kono. You are rattling with my bones. Don Francisco, since we are getting past our formalities, we can begin to expose the rot that is in all of us with no apologies to anyone but to our conscience. State to us your stay in the mother country. Let me tell you, Spain was not fair with me. In their palaces everything proceeds according to protocols. Not like in America where one can do as one pleases, as long as one has the guts to do so. Then you could have been a true American if you had conquered Peru on your own terms, and for other purposes. However, you had no other inherent causes to leave Spain, except that of finding fortune and acceptance of the crown, unlike the English who wanted freedom from royal oppression and religion. You lived most of your life in the New World. Your thinking was, in a way, like that of the savages who live free. But you remained a Spaniard with the same ancient ideas of your mother country. Man of the future. What do you live and fight for? I told you once and I will repeat again, I live and struggle for human dignity. Any nation that gives me that is my country. A motherland where nobody is considered inferior because of race, beliefs, or social status. You would not fight for your place of birth? Yes. But only to change their minds, so that they can all live as one. Let us continue. I understand that the king gave you many titles. Did that make you any different? Oh, yes. I am now a man of noble origin, a Don. Don Francisco, to me you have always been somebody, a man of vision, although a malevolent one. With the titles that you were given, do you think that you had the right to humiliate my ancestors? Why didn't you go after the Moors, instead of the Incas who treated you so well? KVA. The Incas were not what you think they were. We probably saved them from their own extermination. Maybe what happened to our ancestors was inevitable, but to carry a legacy of humiliation for 500 years should not be. Losing a war is one thing, but losing one's dignity is another. We need to rise from that dreadful patrimony. That is where you can help us, even from your grave. Help you in what? In regaining our dignity. This is another millennium. It is about time that we change the predicament of the Indians through lawful means. With that thinking of yours, no one will ever get the Indians of all the Americas out of the misery in which they are in. Only with the sword you will be able to accomplish what you want for your people. Through violence we will never be able to rescue ourselves from our past and present indignities, and it is not the way to reach mankind's soul to procure an everlasting freedom. Man of the times, our souls are not suited to understand the ills of humanity, but the way to our salvation in eternity. Is that why we create our own hell on earth, hoping for redemption in the emptiness of the heavens? Vos sos unhirage. Do not ridicule our beliefs in the hereafter. If I did any wrong to your people, it happened according to the standards of our times. You should understand that the epochs change. I am just probing your soul to comprehend the essence of our humanity throughout the ages. Let us proceed. What happened when you arrived to Seville? Oh, yeah. As soon as we disembarked, I was imprisoned with the same lawyer who was going to represent us. Why? Because of some debts that we supposedly had in the Darien. Meanwhile the golden artifacts, the precious textiles, our llamas, and even my Indians were confiscated and stored somewhere. Don Francisco. The natives were not things to be stored? Mierda. Who cares what happened to them? In any event, someone spoke for my release and paid for my debts. Most likely it was Hernán Cortés. Did you know if it was him? Probably. After all, he was an extremeño, and a close relative of mine. If it wasn't Cortés, the people who kept my belongings told the king to listen to me. You know, gold talks. I recovered all that I had brought to show to Carlos V, and discuss business with him. What business? Don't be so ignorant. To go and conquer your people. Oh. I mean the Indians. Were you going to tell him that the Incas were civilized, and not the supposed savages that you exterminated in Panama? Can't you understand that all the Indians are the same, whether an empire or not? But in this case I had to tell the king that the Incas were more advanced, so I could secure his backing. The Inca Empire was a well-established monarchy, although you had not fully seen it yet. Nobody asked for help from the king in the occupation of Honduras, Nicaragua, and not even the Aztec Empire. You and Carlos V should have proceeded according to the protocols among the monarchies of the Old World, and acted likewise in the case of Peru and Mexico. KVA. Both were a monarchy of Indians. You thought of them below any of the monarchies in the Old World?